Good evening, I'm Dan Lewis.
And I'm Kathy Gertzen. Up next on KOMO News 4, everyone's talking about snow, but it's the wind that has utility crews on the run tonight.
I'm Steve Poole in the Weather Center. I have the latest look at where the cold weather is now, when it will arrive, and how it will affect you once it gets here.
The saber rattling is getting louder as President Bush and Saddam Hussein exchange warnings.
And your chance to win a free trip into outer space.
KOMO News 4 is next.
On the Challenger. Test your knowledge and speed against the best.
The Roadrunner. Yeah.
Beep, beep. Dick Clark hosts the only timely and topical game show on television.
Name Britain's new Prime Minister.
Major.
You got it.
The excitement builds as the winnings grow.
Fascinating.
You are absolutely right.
It's the best news and game shows, the Challengers.
Take the challenge tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Not feeling well?
I'm dying here, I'm dying.
What are the symptoms?
You cry. Run out of breath. You wet your pants?
What could it be?
The measles.
No, you've got feud fever, and help is on the way.
Name something in a doctor's bag.
Stethoscope.
So come on, we've got the cure.
Family Feud! Family Feud! The survey says it's excellent!
When you tune in all this week for Family Feud.
Watch the families duel for dough tomorrow at 4:30.
You're watching KOMO TV4 in Seattle. Live from Seattle, this is KOMO News 4.
An Arctic blast is headed our way, and that could mean snow. Good evening, I'm Dan Lewis.
And I'm Kathy Gertzen. The cold air is moving down from Alaska, and in the days ahead, as much as 4 inches of snow could hit the Seattle area. We have much more on that coming up in just a minute, but tonight our big problem is wind. KOMO's Emily Langley is tracking all the power outages. She joins us now from our newsroom with the latest. Emily?
Kathy, the most critical situation right now is in Snohomish County. A Bonneville power substation has gone down, and that means 40,000 homes north of Marysville are without power. Now, the other big trouble spot is Whidbey Island. 15,000 people without power there. 5 main transmission lines are down. Of course, the big problem tonight is the wind. The trees have blown down into power lines and even into houses. There were signs early in the day this was going to be a long night. One look at Lake Washington tells the story. Wind-whipped waves splashing onto the bridges. This small boat had a tough time in the rolling swells.
Operations a spill.
The calls of power outages started coming in shortly after. Trees blown down, taking out the power lines. There seems to be no pattern to the power outages. They're widely scattered all around the Puget Sound region. Most of them affect about 1,000 homes. Worse yet, snow like this may be coming in on the heels of the wind. That has folks flocking to stores for these: tire chains, de-icers, antifreeze. On a normal winter day, they sell 1 set of tire chains. Today, this store sold 30.
Every year it just goes crazy. Never fails.
Well, it's a good idea to have the antifreeze checked in your car to make sure it'll hold up to the cold temperatures, and you might want to get some insulation to wrap around your pipes. Of course, the big concern right now is getting the power back on, and they're working around the clock to do that.
And I imagine they sure don't want people in the dark with a cold snap coming.
Well, that's right. It can be especially critical for people with electric heat. And you know, often when it snows, the tree limbs snap, and that creates the power problems all over again.
Keep us posted, Emily. Thank you.
Well, over the last few years, we have been hit more than a couple times with pretty big snowstorms. Remember the big Thanksgiving snowstorm of 1985? That had the city messed up for days. February 1st has been a snowy time. We had a snowstorm on February 1st of 1989, and exactly 1 year later, we got a blast of snow again. Doesn't that bring back some fond memories? You know, it's not easy to predict snowstorms around here. The weather systems change so quickly.
But Steve Poole is very busy tracking the situation right now in our weather center. Is there any way to tell right now what kind of a punch this system has, Steve?
Very difficult to tell at this point, Kathy. We can take a look at those past storms, but they're just that, past storms. They don't tell us a lot about what's happening here. My latest look at the satellite imagery tells me that this looks to be more cold and dry than cold and wet, which would tend to support less snowfall. However, the types of things that give us snow out of these systems normally don't show up on satellite imagery, and they don't show up on our computer projections. So we could get nailed at the last minute. I think the better part of discretion here is to give you a forecast that looks like this. Tomorrow we're going to have rapid cooling throughout the day. The cold weather is an absolute given, folks. Wrap the pipes, no question about it. By the latter stages of this week, we'll be real cold. Then we have an increasing chance of snow. How much snow? It really depends on how much moisture we get with this system when it comes in here. But the chance is definitely there, and I know this, it's going to be so cold that any moisture we get at all will be in the form of snow. There you go.
You sound sure about that.
Oh, yes.
We'll talk with you more. Thank you.
We'll continue to keep a very close eye on what's happening with the approaching storm. Steve has a lot more coming up in just a few minutes. Then for updates, tune to KOMO TV 4 tomorrow morning beginning at 6 a.m. for the KOMO Morning Express. For the latest road conditions 24 hours a day, you can call the Department of Transportation hotline. That number is 1-976-ROAD. There is a 35-cent charge when you call that number.
Two young escapees from a Tacoma juvenile home thought they could outrun police in Yakima. They couldn't, and the high-speed chase ended in the death of a 16-year-old boy. The chase ended on a field near a road on the Yakima Indian Reservation. Police say the two boys escaped from a detention facility in Tacoma. They stole a car, and they were spotted at a convenience store in Wapato. Police chased the boys for 30 miles, shooting at the car in an attempt to stop it. When they caught up with the boys, one of them was killed, the other shot in the hand. The officers have been suspended until an investigation can be completed.
We have another rock throwing incident to report tonight. The rock went through the windshield of a truck traveling on I-90. The people inside were showered with glass, but no one was hurt. The rock was thrown from a hillside near Moses Lake. The driver was able to pull his truck over. No one has been arrested. In the deadly rock throwing incident in Linwood, from this overpass, two young boys could face first-degree murder charges. Lester Miller was killed 2 weeks ago when a football-sized rock crashed through his windshield. Police believe two boys, just 12 and 13 years old, are responsible. The boys were in juvenile court today behind those doors. Snohomish County prosecutors are trying to decide if they should charge them with murder and try them as adults. If they do that, the boys could be given much stiffer sentences.
Two Washington State University freshmen could face up to 5 years in prison for causing that bomb scare at this year's Apple Cup game in Pullman. Thousands of fans were evacuated from the stands when police found what looked like a bomb. Turned out to be a smoke generator, not an explosive, but the game was delayed for several minutes. The two students are expected to be charged with reckless endangerment. It's been exactly 1 year since Alaska's Mount Redoubt rumbled to life and blew its top. It wasn't until a few days after the eruption that we could get our first look at the ash and the steam that belched thousands of feet into the air above Redoubt. Several Alaskan towns were coated in a layer of ash, and air travelers were grounded for days because airplanes couldn't fly through the thick plume.
Tom Casey has been having some flying problems too, but now he's about to get his world record. Casey left Seattle in May to become the first person to fly around the world in a float plane, which means he could only land in water. Weather, health, and plane problems have really slowed him down, but now the trip is almost over. Casey is expected to land in Lake Washington at Sandpoint tomorrow morning.
Iraq refuses to budge, and Saddam taunts the United States.
Up next on KOMO News 4, we'll hear the response of President Bush less than a month away from the deadline to use force.
We have another 12 for the road treat tonight, served with a military twist.
And some tips for trimming the Christmas tree that'll help save the good earth.
For the man searching for a world he understands, for the man seeking harmony within himself, Fahrenheit Pour L'Homme by Christian Dior. Fahrenheit Legend. Your gift with any Fahrenheit fragrance purchase at the Bon Marché. Poison by Christian Dior. Poison Emeralds. Your gift with any Poison fragrance purchase at the Bon Marché.
Back when Dairy Gold started business, people had a real appetite for living. The appetite's still here, only now it's bigger. That's why Dairy Gold makes everything from great tasting yogurts to rich, delicious classic ice cream. Because people around here have always known how to live. And they still do. Dairy Gold, a delicious way to live.
These are the new skis from K2. They are very fast. Maybe too fast.
The winds of war are blowing more strongly tonight.
This is one of those days when both President Bush and Saddam Hussein are talking tough. First, the Iraqi dictator insisted he will never submit to U.S. demands to make a complete withdrawal from Kuwait. Then President Bush fired back, flanked by ambassadors from the anti-Iraq coalition. Mr. Bush warned Saddam Hussein to pay attention to all the Allied troops in Saudi Arabia and recognize that Iraq will be destroyed if that military force is unleashed. President Bush says the U.S. is not bluffing about the demand for Iraq to get out of Kuwait by January 15th.
We have a 12 for the road drink tonight from the rank and file members of our local military. KOMO's Eric Slocum teams up with representatives from Fort Lewis, McCord, and Whidbey Island to mix up a non-alcoholic treat called the Hometown Hero.
Okay, so what's the first ingredient in our Hometown Hero punch? Scott, why don't you tell us?
Okay, we're gonna put in some treetop apple juice here.
Some treetop apple juice?
Yes.
Gotta be treetop.
Gotta be treetop.
Treetop, okay. Gotta be treetop. I think maybe you could use another brand, but we'll use treetop for this one. Okay, so you put in 3 of those.
Yep.
Okay, now Siemens Zizzy, what's the next ingredient here?
Ginger ale, Schweppes ginger ale.
Schweppes, oh, here we have another name brand here. Now could you possibly use another brand other than Schweppes?
Sure.
Any
type of ginger ale.
Any ginger ale will do. I'll let you put that in there.
All right.
This, I guess, would add the fizz to it, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Yeah, you've kind of figured out what each component of this recipe does, haven't you?
Correct.
Yeah, correct. You betcha. Okay, there goes the fizz. You can see it here. Let's let the folks at home now look at this. I mean, see, you can see that fizz there, and what a nice serving bowl we've got here. This Army issue punch bowl. This is a big part of my last 3 weeks on this planet. I'll tell you, this kept me alive. Explain what that is.
This is true. This is the bottled water from Saudi Arabia. This particular water was bottled in Riyadh. And
we've got these other name brands over here. I suppose just what, any bottle?
Any bottled water, I think.
Any bottled
kind of
water.
Clear mineral water will work just fine.
Of course, you and I have a particular taste for the Saudi water.
We want that water bad.
We want it. We need it now.
We're fond of that.
After having lived on it. Okay.
You really need 2 of these, a full liter of water.
All right, very important part of the drink is the ice, okay? Make sure it splashes a little on your clothes, okay? And then we have to add some garnishes, and you just kind of throw those right on top of the ice cubes so they'll stay afloat. Okay, now, before we drink it, we'd like to propose a toast to all of you people out there, to everyone in Western Washington, and hopefully our troops in Saudi Arabia will get to see this too. You're our hometown heroes. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you all.
Thanks for the support.
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
If you'd like to try this recipe or any of the recipes at home, you can pick up a brochure of all of our 12 for the road drinks at any Puget Sound Sizzler or right here at KOMO TV. And tomorrow, Seattle Supersonics Olden Polynice and Dan in the kitchen together, a scary thought, making a quart cooler.
Just you wait and see how scary it is.
I can hardly wait.
Well, we had some fun and we made a mess, but it's a good drink too. Now, we have to ask you, I know it's difficult to predict the future, but everybody wants to know how bad's it going to get?
Well, we're hoping at this point not to make too big a mess out of our streets, but I'll tell you this much. There's definitely cold air on the way, and by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, it will be cold enough that any moisture we do get will probably be in the form of snow. That you can count on. But let's take you through what's going to happen through the balance of this evening. First of all, we have mostly cloudy skies, 43 degrees. Barometer is rising now, 29.87. Our humidity is at 69% right now. 49 was the high temperature today. Put that in the book if you like to keep track. If not, maybe just Make a note of it. We go 46 and 36 for our average. So we were actually above average high today. Forget about being in the 40s for a while, folks. We're headed for the cold, cold temperatures. And if you think it's going to be cold around here, you probably don't want to be in Montana, because they're going to see their high temperatures struggling to get into the single digits. I'm not kidding you. Really cold weather on that side of the Rockies. We're just getting the edge of most of the real bulk of the cold air, which is coming down in this region here. Even far down into the Intermountain region, it's going to be clear, but also a little on the cool side. And if you're headed back east, maybe you're going to do some holiday traveling, take the umbrella. You will definitely need it all up and down the Atlantic coastline. Rain heavy at times throughout the entire day. We're getting close to winter. It actually starts the first full day on Saturday. Now, here's what's happening here. We're continuing to watch a little area right in here. And it's very difficult to pick out of that which one of these particular clouds might be a snowmaker. And as a matter of fact, we can't even see it at this point. So what we're telling folks is that the cold air will definitely be here by tomorrow afternoon. If we get one of those little systems that just rotates around off our coast, we could have some snow in here by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, as late as Wednesday morning, as a matter of fact. High wind warning, that's the big story up around Bellingham Way, and I would caution all my friends up there that this type of scenario definitely leads to high winds and very cold temperatures in your part of the Puget Sound Basin. So be aware of that. Very cold for Bellingham for the next several days as that wind shoots out of the Fraser River Valley there. Elsewhere, we find all our temperatures in the mid-30s tonight. Now tomorrow, we'll see the cold air just marching down the Puget Sound Basin here, and following it, wherever we get moisture, you have that chance of picking up a little bit of snowfall. Again, the later you go, the more likely this is to occur. We'll see our highs tomorrow in the upper 30s to near 40, but that will be early in the day, and then as the day goes on, it's going to continue to cool off. Here we go. Snow level in the mountains, 500 feet. Throughout western Washington, that increasing chance of some snow moving down from the north. East of the Cascades, you will definitely have snow there, and the overnight low temperatures are going to be frightfully cold by tomorrow night. We're talking low temperatures there in the minus category, and that will remain the case right on through the end of the week. Very, very cold temperatures east of the mountains. Now, a quick look at the waters here. Because we have all this strong wind around tonight, which, by the way, is an indicator of how strong this cold air might be up in Canada, got a storm warning up through the Strait of Juan de Fuca. That will drop at midnight to a gale warning. Gale warning up on the inland waters and a gale warning on the coast as well. All right, you stay with us. In just a couple minutes, I'll be back and give you a wrap-up on what we expect with regard to snow, not only for tomorrow, but for the next several days. Do stay there.
Husky Rose Bowl Trivia is brought to you by Rainier Beer. Around here, it's Rainier. In the '78 Rose Bowl, this Husky linebacker saved the Huskies from a late Michigan surge, intercepting this Rick Leach pass with just 1:21 to go, giving the Dogs a 27-20 victory over the Wolverines. Can you name him?
Over the years, we've made a few changes to keep up with the times. But some things about our beer never change, like fresh hops from the Yakima Valley, the Northwest's finest malting barley, and pure water from the mighty Cascade Range, which is why, around here, it's Rainier.
Michael Jackson played the game of his life in the '78 Rose Bowl. He would go on to play for another Seattle team, the Seahawks. Rainier Beer salutes the Huskies. Go Dogs!
It's a wonderful, glorious holiday gift from Ernst. It brightens, it dazzles, it decorates. Ernst, it shines, it lights, it twinkles bright, it glimmers, shimmers through the night. It warms your heart, it warms your toes. It thrills, it cleans, it cuts, it grows, it's Ernst.
Ernst and Skill have great gift ideas for the family fixer-upper. Get a Skill Twist cordless screwdriver, just $12.87. And the Skill cordless wrench is just $37.
Always the right price, always and always, it's Ernst.
Last year, Hoover brought you a vacuum powerful enough to pick up a brick. This year, Hoover introduces the powerful Spectrum Cleaner with this handy swivel hose in case you have a brick here or there. Power. Hoover invented it. Clumsy canister vacuums can drive you bananas. But now, Hoover introduces the Futura Cleaner with a swivel hose for ease and mobility. Now, your vacuum goes anywhere you go, and some places you don't. Mobility. Hoover invented it.
Be a KOMO news watcher. If you see news happening or capture a news event on your home video camera, call us at 1-800 844 News 4.
So now, when you head out the door tomorrow morning, I think it's a good idea to take whatever with you that you might need in case we do get some snow before you go home from work. That would mean bundling up and making sure you've got what you need to get your car through all this. That isn't to say it's going to happen before you go home, but that chance does exist. A few showers tonight. If we do get them tonight, it'll be rain this evening, but not much. Lots of wind. We'll be up around 30 miles per hour in the Seattle area and near 50 miles per hour through the Strait of Juan de Fuca and around Bellingham. Tomorrow, clouds and then rapid cooling. Throughout the day, you will feel it get colder. Increasing chance of snow later in the afternoon and the evening hours, that chance existing right on through the early part of Wednesday. And then the cold air is here, as you see. High temperatures will struggle to get to freezing. Overnight lows will be well down into the 20s. So you're going to want to make sure now, as you look over the next several days, take care of the pipes and the pets and all those other things you have to do when you get prepared for cold weather. All right. Hey, one thing that will be nice is that we still have some houses to show you that really look beautiful in our area. And here's a great one here. This is at 11021 20th Street Northeast. That's in Lake City, and just another one of our great, terrific-looking houses. And by the way, I know a lot of you have been watching this and saying, I want to go see some of these places. Well, we've thought of that, okay? Give us a call at 1-800-342-TV4U, and we'll send you a list of the houses that we've had on the air so you can go out and take a peek at them, and hopefully we'll have streets that will allow you to do that, all right? Yeah. We'll keep you posted.
And just a very quick reminder, and you know this if you've been with us for our previous bouts of bad weather, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, we'll have it covered for you. To get the latest, we'll have it. So hopefully it won't get bad, but if it does, we'll count on Steve and the rest of us.
You know, I know some gentleman who picked the perfect time to leave town. Bruce?
That's right. Huskies.
That's right.
They've decided it's time to go.
That's
time
right.
to
The
go to the
sunnier
Rose.
climes, huh?
Yeah, true, because now is the time to start thinking about the Rose Bowl right now, because you know it's just around the corner. Only a couple of weeks away as far as the Rose Bowl is concerned. Huskies leave tomorrow morning for Pasadena. They're going to be headquartered at Anaheim. But guess what? The Iowa Hawkeyes, they already left. They left for Southern California today. The Big Ten champion Hawkeyes left the snow of the Midwest this morning with the Southern California sunshine on their minds.
I want to go to California right now.
What are you going to do when you get out in California?
I have no idea. Hopefully we can go hook up with Maryland here at
You're
her house.
going to beat the Huskies, silly.
Yes, you're going to beat the Huskies.
And then you're going to come see me at university.
Oh, okay. I'm out of here, fellas.
When the 17th ranked Hawkeyes arrived in Los Angeles this afternoon, they were met with the sunshine they'd hoped for. In 15 days, they will greet the 8th ranked Huskies.
I'm not for sure that Washington's not the #1 team in the nation. To be honest with you, on film, they're without question the finest football team we've seen.
Hayden, we agree with you and are cheering right here. Dennis Brown's a former Husky who was one of many 49ers who put the pressure on the Ram quarterback Jim Everett tonight. Brown's sack was his 6th in his last 8 games. On the other side of the ball, Joe Montana had yet another strong game. Montana hooks up with who else? Jerry Rice. 60-yard touchdown. The Niners win at 26-10, clinch home field advantage for the NFC playoffs. Both Joe Montana and Jim Everett should consider themselves lucky they came out of tonight's game healthy. Now, that wasn't the case for many other NFL quarterbacks over the weekend, including Chicago's Jim Harbaugh, who will likely miss the rest of the season with this shoulder injury. Phil Simms of the Giants also may miss the remainder of the season with an injured foot. The Bills' Jim Kelly sprained a knee in the same game on Saturday, and the Chiefs' Steve DeBerg broke a finger in his non-throwing hand. You know, all had been quiet on the free agent front for the Mariners until today, when the club signed Ken Griffey to a 1-year contract. 40-year-old Griffey is the first free agent the Mariners have signed this winter. Now, after joining the Mariners late last season, Griffey at .377 the final month of the year. He will join his son, Ken Jr., on the Mariners roster again next season. Now, last year, the Griffeys became baseball's first father and son combination to play in the same team. But the question remains, will the novelty of having Dad around all season wear off and have any negative effect on Ken Jr.?
I don't think so. I think Ken is more focused when his dad's here, and I think Ken Sr. will be a great influence on Ken.
Turning to basketball, the Sonics will probably have revenge on their minds when Orlando visits the Coliseum tomorrow night. Seattle lost to the Magic last week in Florida. Just 2 games, however, in the NBA tonight. A tough evening for the home teams. The Nets lose at home to Utah. Atlanta wins in Cleveland. Thunderbirds are also at home tomorrow night. They renew the I-5 rivalry with Portland at the arena. A relatively quiet night, as you see in the National Hockey League. The Rangers' 5-3 win over Washington, the only game scheduled. It was anything but quiet Saturday in Munich at the Grand Slam Tennis Cup. Brad Gilbert first argued a judge's call. Then something you don't see too often, Gilbert had some words with his opponent, David Wheaton. The 2 players were separated before anything more could develop. Gilbert won the match, but he did lose $5,000 today when he and Wheaton were fined by the International Tennis Federation. Finally, our question tonight's about football. Ethel Collier of Seattle wants to know how many former Huskies are now playing in the National Football League. Well, Ethel, I count 27 now playing in the NFL on 22 different teams. For example, tonight, Dennis Brown, you saw a moment ago, playing for the 49ers. Mike Lansford, Vince Newsom for the Los Angeles Rams. Remember, if you have a question, write to me here at KOMO. We use your question on the air. We'll send you a Good Sport mug, and we'll cheer all the way to the bank.
Yeah, hey, isn't that tennis getting to be a tough sport, huh?
Oh, it really is. Let's get arguments in tennis now, and 2 guys going at it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bruce. You know, as you saw, Steve has been showing you some great outdoor holiday displays this month, and now we want to show you some ways to trim the trees and the bushes for the good earth. Tonight, Earth Minute reporter Lily Shank shows us how to go wild with holiday decorations and light up a tree the natural way.
You don't need lights to light up an outdoor tree for the holidays. Instead, dress it up the natural way. String popcorn, cranberries, and raisins and drape it over the branches. You'll be providing a holiday banquet for songbirds. Popcorn and cranberries can be made into ornaments of any shape or size by stringing them on wire. String peanuts for a popular bird snack. Or smear pine cones with peanut butter. We added some raisins, popcorn, even some sunflower seeds to ours. To add a splash of color, cut an orange in half, cradle it in yarn, and hang it from a limb. If you have any untreated Indian corn left over from Thanksgiving, go ahead and put that out too. Any type of tree will do, but choose one close enough to the house for a good view. You'll not only be providing food for wildlife, but have the pleasure of watching live ornaments decorate your tree. Another nice thing about these decorations, there's nothing to take down after the holidays. The birds will do that for you. I'm Lily Shank, and that's today's Earth Minute.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, they'd be happy. The birds would be happy to find something under the snow around here.
That's true.
If that's what happens. Ever dream of blasting off into outer space?
There may be a way for your dream to come true, and we're going to show you how up next.
Recently, Acura introduced what many have called the greatest sports car the world has ever known. Our latest idea is somewhat bigger, the new Acura Legend.
Isatis de Givenchy.
Available at the Bon Marché.
How do you find pay and pack's prices, besides looking at the paper?
I find them very good.
Very good. They seem to be comparable with everybody else, if not a little better.
So you find pay and pack's prices were okay?
I think they're great. Yeah, I do.
Give a gift your favorite handyman won't take back. The Shop Vac 10-gallon wet and dry vac with power blower. 2 tools in 1 for just $69.
Oh, so, hi. What about the competition? They say that their prices are lower.
They're not. They're definitely not. As a matter of fact, we've gone to the competition and compared prices, and they are definitely not lower.
Mazda 626. All-Star Family Sedan. Go!
racing toward record sales. Shouldn't your family feel just right? Special options packages save you up to $820. Plus, factory-to-dealer incentives can save you hundreds more. It's never been easier. Mazda, there's no stopping us now. And with deals like this, there's no stopping you.
At your local Mazda dealer now.
Sony unleashes V, a brilliant new videotape with higher magnetic energy. V's high-packing technology puts more uniform particles on tape to capture more precise color and music, scene after scene, time after time. See how vivid video can be. New Sony V. Available at Musicland.
So you say you're looking for something a little different to do on your next vacation? Well, how about the ultimate adventure? Now, this could be you. A Houston travel company is holding a contest called The Ultimate Adventure. The winner of a sweepstakes will rocket into space on board a Soviet spacecraft and will spend a week at the Soviet space station Mir. The contest, believe it or not, begins today for $2.99. Anybody can enter. Just call, I'm not kidding, 1-900-258-2647. Now remember, every time you call, it's $2.99. The winner will be chosen next December, and the only catch is you're supposed to learn Russian before the big blast-off. If space travel isn't for you, you can have $1.5 million instead. But even if you do choose to go up in space, you still get $500,000 cash.
What a great
plus
trip.
A week at Mir.
Chances of winning are probably about the same as winning the lottery.
I bet they're even worse. But
that's right. And the sponsors say call and call often.
Yeah.
Because they're getting a little money every time you do.
I guess they were overloaded with calls today. Yeah. That's it for us. Thank you for joining us on this Monday night. Have a good one, and don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow with all the latest on the storm coming up.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
Those love letters you meant to write. There's another way. Tell her you love her with pearls, only at Ben Bridge. Every love song you hear, you dedicate to her. Let her know how much she means to you with a diamond promise ring, only at Ben Bridge.
The diamond people in Bridge.
We want you to have a safe and sober holiday season. That's why 12 for the Road is back again. Weeknights at 5 and 11 on KOMO News 4. Watch for 12 exciting new holiday beverages from KOMO, Sizzler, and Stevens Memorial Hospital. These tasty non-alcoholic recipes are the favorites of some well-known Puget Sound residents, like Don James Husky Warm-Up and Burl Ives Jimmy Crack Corn. 12 for the Road, available at all Sizzler restaurants and brought to you by KOMO News 4, Sizzler, and Stevens Hospital.
I'm gonna get a big brown teddy bear. I want a Nintendo.
Are you guys gonna get me a toy?
No. A racing car. My walking pup. I want a motion control scooters and motion control alarm.
The best and worst movies for the holidays, Tuesday.